What the Pegasus boots do is pretty much the exact same thing they did in A Link to the Past. It will allow Link to dash, and when he has his sword out, he actually does double the amount of damage. Additionally, Link can charge through blocks to reach new areas. Poke suspicious parts of the wall with your sword and listen to the sounds it makes. If you poke against the wall with your sword, you'll notice it makes a funky looking noise if there's a secret. And you'll notice there's an arrow. The background makes an arrow pointing down, and this signifies that you need to place a bomb. Place one here as well, and remember what that owl statue said earlier in the dungeon. Far away, do not fear, dash and fly. And this is exactly what you need to do. Dash with the boots and fly or jump with the Rock's Feather, and this will allow you to reach the higher ledge here where you can get the Nightmare Key. Jump off the ledge and head north of screen, and you'll find another variation of the bomb bites. This time they are of a green variation. Unlike the red ones, these ones won't just go crazy. Instead, they have timers. It'll count down 3, 2, 1, and then they'll explode. The key is to allow them to explode far away from Link so you don't take any damage. In this room here, open the treasure chest to get the compass. It's pretty significant because you have to get 4 keys in a row to progress further in the dungeon, and some of them, like one of them, is all the way back at the beginning of the dungeon. And if you missed any keys, what the compass will do is it'll show you exactly where you need to go to. Another one of those keys is hidden here. If you recall, we were on the higher ledge at the bottom part of the screen earlier in this dungeon. But now that we're here, we can blast that hole, defeat the 3 bomb bites, and you can get one of the keys. The green bomb bites will have respawned here, so be sure to get rid of them so that they don't cause you any harm. And then, well, they caused me harm, just get rid of them so the door opens. And then we have to do a bit of backtracking. If you look at your map, there's a treasure chest at the beginning of the dungeon that we couldn't get to before. But we can now get it, now that we have the Pegasus boots. So return to the room with the Dodongo snakes and use the warp portal to get back to the entrance. Head to the room to the right, and you'll notice there's a new enemy on the right. It's not exactly a new enemy. We saw this in Bottle Grotto. It's basically like a vacuum, or a vacuum mouth. And it'll like suck you in, basically. It'll like have like a magnetic pull trying to pull you in. So you can use the Pegasus boots to get to it and defeat it. Backtrack to the entrance, and we want to head north now. But this time we want to head along the path on the left. You'll reach now that there's these blocks that were blocking your way, but because we have the Pegasus boots, we can now zoom right across. You can defeat the gel, and now if you return to the other side of the room, you can defeat the 2 Stalfos. Since we can now beat the gel and the Stalfos, all the enemies in the room will have been defeated, and we'll get a secret treasure chest in that area on the right where I mentioned where it looks like there should be a treasure chest. So open it up to get 200 rupees. This is very important, very vital if you're saving up to get the bow and arrow. We want to now backtrack to the room with the Dodongo snakes, so head through the warp portal and now just walk south of screen, and now there's a series of locked blocks on the right side. There's the first one, and now that we have 4 keys, we can open all 4 of these blocks and access a new floor. Again, this is another hint to Key Cavern. There's so many of these keys. Here we have a Thwomp, which is another Mario-based enemy. Just use your Pegasus boots and dash into him, and he will fall to the ground, allowing you to pass. In this next room, use the Pegasus boots and the Rock's Feather to dash, jump across, and then head down the steps to resurface. There are 3 pair odds here, but these guys are much easier to defeat now that we have the Pegasus boots. You can just dash into them, and you can defeat them before they even have a chance to warp to another part of the room. The door will open, you can get the recovery heart in the center of the room, and then head left. This next room, I mentioned it earlier in the dungeon. There are 5 keys, and if you defeat them all, you get a reward of a small key, even though we don't need a small key anymore. This is if you missed those rooms earlier, you can use this small key and go back to them. Head up to fight the boss. Neener, you can't find me. Yeah. Okay. And from the ceiling drops a bunch of green Zol, and these will just drop infinitely. What you really need to do is use the Pegasus boots, dash into the wall, and this will cause the dungeon boss Slime Eyes to fall from the ceiling. In order to defeat it, you have to use the Pegasus boots and dash into the front of its eye, basically. And it's sort of like biology class where a cell is splitting into two, and that's exactly what you have to do. Just keep dashing. It's kind of difficult because you got to get it perfectly aligned right in the middle, but eventually it will split into two. And at this point, you want to equip Rock's Feather, because every time one of the eyes falls, if it hits the ground, Link will get stunned, and there's a high chance that Slime Eyes will fall on top of him or hurt him. Just keep slashing. Whenever it drops to the ground, jump, and then slash at him, and just keep repeating this until Slime Eyes has been defeated. Pick up the full heart container, and this increases our overall health to 8 full heart containers. Head up a screen and pick up the next instrument of the sirens, the Sea Lily's Bell. After a short little jingle, as usual, that will pretty much do it. Congratulations on beating Key Cavern. That's going to end Chapter 3. Join me for Chapter 4, where we will be getting the 4th instrument of the sirens, but before that, we will go to a special optional dungeon only found in the DX version of the game.